excited to have Shania here earlier, and the woman is gorgeous. So we're going to talk a little bit about contouring and maybe give you cheekbones like Shania. Can we do that, Bahar?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I'm going to show you a whole bunch of tips and tricks. But interesting thing about Shania, so I read up on this when I found out she's going to be on the show.
Yes.
They did a study at U of T actually on her face. Turns out she has the most symmetrical face, because based on how her eyes and her nose and her lips are all spaced apart, which in turn, that's what the human eye looks for, and that's what we consider, that's what our brain considers attractive.
Right.
And that we can do that by creating symmetry with the whole idea of contouring and highlighting, and that's what we're going to do.
Very cool. So this is Carly, our model. So you will show us on one side of her face, because contouring is one of those things, I mean, you want to do it right, because if you don't, it doesn't look good.
No, it can be a big old mess. So I'm going to talk about first what you need. Okay. The brush that I have here is a specific shaped brush. It's not too fluffy. It's not too big. It's not too small. Okay? That's important. And the color that I'm using is not a bronzer. Okay. It has no shimmer. This is from Rodial. So the neat thing about a lot of brands right now that are out there as well, they are creating contouring kits and highlighting kits. So they're making it easy. So Rodial has like 20 different products to take care of all of this. And I'm going to use the highlighter and the contouring powder and the brush to show you. And now I'm going to show you the technique of how to do it.
How do you pick a color, first of all? Are you looking for her the same face color, or are you looking for something lighter or darker?
Right. So when you contour, you're creating a shadow. So you want 1 to 2 shades darker. And when you're highlighting, you want 1 to 2 shades lighter. And the reason I'm going to go a little bit heavier is because we're on TV, so we want it to show up and want it to be noticeable. But when you're walking down the streets, you don't have to go so heavy. Okay. Just to know, like Shania on stage, you don't have to do that during the day.
It's like when I walk outside in the streets, they're like, oh my God.
I hear you after a
Take
show.
off some of that makeup.
I hear you. But you look lovely. You always look lovely.
It's TV.
So technique-wise, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a 3 or an E, depending on how you're looking at it. Okay. And we're going to start at the top of the hairline. And we're going to go right underneath the cheekbone. And that is the first top part of our 3 or E. And then from there, we're going to double back and create almost like another C shape along the jawline. And what this is doing, it's kind of like a frame for the face. We're creating a frame underneath the cheekbones, which helps them to stand out, and as well at the top of the forehead.
So contouring is basically going to create symmetry. If you do it on both sides of your face, you can get those sort of those cuts that your face don't really have.
Exactly.
You can make them up.
And the funny thing is, our face actually does have those cuts. It's just that in natural daylight,
you don't see them.
It all gets washed away.
Right.
So now that we've contoured, I'm going to grab the highlighting powder. Okay. And I have a highlighting brush. So the neat thing about this as well is that the head of this brush is even more tight and more compact, because highlighting is not meant to be done all over the entire face. It's very specific areas. So I'm going to have to turn a tiny bit more this way. And so the great place to start and concentrate your highlighting is a C shape, just from the top of your brow all the way onto the top of your cheekbone. Okay. So you can see very distinctly there's a heavier, darker shade for contouring. That's our highlight. And then the space in between, because most people aren't sure, that's where your blush goes. So you're not supposed to be putting blush all over your face. It's a very specific area. Okay. And so now that we've seen it, now that we can see the colors, now I'm just going to blend a little bit. Exactly, to make it a little bit more realistic.
Make sure you blend it.
You're laughing, but it's so important as a makeup artist. If we see hard lines, we cringe.
Right. You don't want to walk around and people see a 3 and a C.
That's exactly.
Oh, there's the 3 and there's the C right there.
Exactly. This is not Sesame Street. No.
Okay.
There you go. Now
so this is good. Simple tips. Make sure you do it, fairly the same on both sides.
Yes.
Gorgeous. Really nice.